believe people play with people intelligence the way they play with people intelligence and intellect, the way they do today. People are telling lies for a living. You know what I mean?
You know what's to me? There's a who pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you see it and you go, I'm not going because this nigga. I think I can take him.
Welcome back to Fame Flux, where the truth behind fame gets exposed. Tony Yayo just reignited one of the most volatile rivalries in hip-hop, aiming direct shots at J Prince and sparking new conversations about one of the biggest alleged extortion schemes the industry has ever faced. J Prince, the architect behind Rap-A-Lot Records and a powerful Houston figure, reportedly tried to pull his infamous check-in move on 50 Cent. But instead of backing down, 50 flipped the entire script, exposing the play and daring J Prince to respond. What was once behind-the-scenes tension between Houston's underground influence and G-Unit's no-compromise approach has now erupted into a visible clash that is shaking both music and street circles. To understand the weight of this conflict, history has to be revisited.
I got out there, they showed me a lot of love. But Shreveport had the infrastructure already here. Like even the tax incentive was put.
Well, yeah. And so a lot of people have been talking about, man, he's here only because they gave him a cheap deal or something like that. The reality is there's more to that deal than that. Way more.
They can't see.
Break that down.
I'm spending $20 million this year anyway, in the same building that they're saying was the cheap building.
Right.
So find somebody else to spend $20 million.
J Prince is not just a businessman. He is considered a cornerstone of Houston street structure. Founder of Rap-A-Lot, and often described as the quiet Don of the South, his presence alone is enough to make people comply. In Houston, the check-in culture has long been enforced. Artists who bypassed it often risked leaving without jewelry or worse. Enter 50 Cent, whose legacy was built on defiance. From the earliest days of his battles with Ja Rule, Irv Gotti, and Murder Inc., 50 established that he would never bow to mob-style politics. G-Unit was structured like a military squad. No check-ins, no compromises, and absolutely no paying for protection. When word spread that 50 Cent was considering relocating to Houston, the streets started buzzing immediately. Everyone knew if this move actually happened, it wouldn't be quiet. If 50 really stepped foot in H-Town without checking in with J Prince, it wasn't just a slight, it was a direct challenge to the city's long-standing power structure. And when he finally did it, the atmosphere shifted instantly. What had been a distant Cold War suddenly escalated. For years, 50 stayed in New York, throwing verbal shots, trolling the industry, and keeping his distance. Meanwhile, J Prince maintained his reputation as Houston's silent boss, rarely speaking but always respected. They exchanged subliminal jabs.
Maybe we need to change the word for the youngsters. The checking in part, is they seem to get hung up on that word checking in.
Yeah.
So if we could diversify that word and bring it up to a 2021 thing.
Right. What's the word, OG? What's the word?
Maybe we may want to tell them they need to get connected.
But neither directly crossed into the other's domain until 50 dropped a bomb on Twitter. I love New York, but I live in Houston now. I'll explain later. This wasn't a stunt for headlines. It was strategy. New York's crushing taxes were cutting deep into the 50s empire, while Houston provided everything he needed: wide space, low taxes, and a hip-hop scene that was surging. More importantly, his Branson Cognac brand needed a southern foothold, and Houston's booming liquor market was the perfect entry point. For 50, it was about planting roots and taking over new territory in both music and business. But the problem was clear: he never checked in. And in a city where checking in wasn't optional, J Prince wasn't about to ignore that level of defiance. Word in the streets was that J Prince saw 50 Cent's arrival as a bold attempt to sit on the Houston throne without paying homage. Allegedly, Prince sent a few associates to apply pressure, with whispers circulating that he wanted 50 to cough up money for protection. But that demand didn't land. 50 made it crystal clear. G-Unit moves with its own army, and they don't pay to play, period. That defiance turned up the tension. Rumors soon followed that J. Prince declared a no-fly zone over Houston for 50, essentially marking the city as off-limits.
On stupid, right?
Yeah.
You're stuck on stupid, and you're not using your powers or access to powers that you have. You're looking at it as a negative versus a positive. You know, we all know if you can tap into good people wherever you go.
Wherever, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a blessing, really.
Real talk.
That kind of power play might intimidate smaller names, but 50 Cent isn't built like that. Instead of folding, he cranked the pressure back on Prince, turning the whole situation into a spectacle. On Instagram, 50 fired off memes, captions, and slick comments that kept the industry watching closely. He mocked the idea of checking in and put it on blast for millions to see. It wasn't just trolling. It was a public dare for J. Prince to step up, and 50 delivered it with his trademark smirk in front of the entire world. But while the digital war raged on, the real-world stakes got heavier. 50 had been pouring resources into a massive $20 million G-Unit film and TV studio in Houston. The plan wasn't just about business, it was about creating jobs, internships, and new opportunities that could put Houston on the map as a media hub. Yet suddenly, the entire project shifted to Shreveport, Louisiana. Officially, 50 said the move was about infrastructure and tax breaks, but anyone paying attention knew there was more to the story. The shadow of J. Prince's influence was too loud to ignore. Houston's street politics were boiling, but 50 Cent wasn't about to play chess with snakes. Instead of bowing to backroom games, he flipped the script entirely. J. Prince may have tried to push him out, but the city itself crowned him. By 2022, just a year after moving to Houston, the energy completely shifted. The mayor, Sylvester Turner, personally handed 50 Cent the key to the city. November 24th was officially named 50 Cent Day, celebrated during the iconic Thanksgiving Day parade. Crowds went wild, cheering as Turner praised him as a philanthropist and entrepreneur, highlighting the way 50 supported students through his G-Unity program. On that parade float, 50 looked less like an outsider and more like a man born and bred in Houston. And he didn't stop there. Through his G-Unity Foundation, 50 doubled down on giving back, launching turkey drives, toy giveaways, and major school donations. He wasn't just a resident anymore. He was embedding himself into the fabric of the community. This wasn't noise. It was real power moves. He secured partnerships with Houston's major sports franchises, the Rockets, Texans, and Astros, through his Sire Spirits brand, transforming his business hustle into a citywide empire. In 2023 alone, he donated $850,000 worth of toys during the holidays. By 2024, he raised $500,000 for the Houston Children's Charity, just by auctioning 2 massive bottles of his Le Chemin du Roi champagne, helping push the night's total haul to an astonishing $6 million. Meanwhile, J. Prince was allegedly watching from the shadows. The man once considered the silent ruler of Houston now had to witness 50 being celebrated in the open spotlight. That tension brewed silently, until Tony Yayo stepped forward, the most unfiltered voice in G-Unit, and dropped bombs during a Vlad TV interview. Tony Yayo finally ripped the cover off the whole game and explained why G-Unit never bent to the so-called check-in system. According to him, it was never about respect, it was about control and extortion. Yayo said flat out that G-Unit moved militant for a reason, because the check-in system was nothing more than a slick way to line rappers up and bleed them dry. You check in, you pay up, or you risk getting robbed. That's the unspoken rule. J. Prince, in Yayo's breakdown, built his legacy on branding himself as the protector of artists in Houston. He styled himself as the city's unofficial king, creating this so-called friendly system of checking in. But when you peel back the layers, it wasn't about hospitality.
I got a call, you know what I mean? Because the little homie young boy place got broke into, people went in his place, disrespected different things, and I got a call about it. And the little homies that went into this place want to make that right because they understand that, young boy family is okay with me. And as you can see, homie, to make a long story short, I got your keys to your Rolls Royce. I got your keys to your McLaren. All that shit that they took. And the homie, Shakur, what you got, homie?
You got your Rolls Royce umbrellas. You got your keys. You got a bunch of other shit. So.
It was about setting up a toll booth for rappers moving through H-Town. Yayo made it clear. That crown was paid for in other people's pockets. The way it allegedly works, artists pull into Houston and they're expected to connect with Jay Prince's camp. On the surface, it's about showing respect. In reality, it means handing over money, paying for peace, and ensuring that if something happens, like a chain getting snatched, it mysteriously comes back. But skip the system, and the drama starts quickly. To hammer it home, Yayo pointed to the cautionary tale of Pop Smoke. His tragic death was more than a loss. It was a warning to every young artist about how fragile the line is between street ties and industry moves. Yayo didn't hold back. He said straight protection always comes with invisible strings, and when things collapse, no one's rushing in to save you. For him, the moral was simple. Independence and preparation are safer than buying fake protection. All these so-called mob ties and gangster connections don't just create tension in the streets, they invite federal heat. This isn't the 90s anymore. When you're talking mafia-style extortion, check-ins, and artists being set up, you're stepping right into RICO case territory. G-Unit understood that risk early. That's why they stayed self-reliant, armed, and accountable to no one. For them, owing favors to street figures with hidden agendas was never an option. Things got even more serious when NBA YoungBoy pulled up to Houston on business and refused to check in. Almost immediately, his spot got hit. Chains gone, cash taken, and car keys vanished into thin air. Then, out of nowhere, Jay Prince popped up on Instagram, claiming he recovered the stolen items. But instead of handling it quietly like a true street leader, he went public, posting a video like a PR campaign for his own reputation. To many, it looked more like theatrics than loyalty. That move didn't sit well. Cameron and Mace jumped in on the conversation, blasting Jay Prince for using intimidation as leverage instead of building artists up. Their words cut deep. Real OGs don't extort, they uplift. They pointed out that if someone is still trying to play mob boss in their 60s, it already signals a loss of credibility. And then came the shadow of those infamous Houston dice games. Jay Prince's alleged second hustle right behind check-ins. High-stakes tables that became legendary in rap circles, but not for positive reasons. Whispers of setups and predatory plays followed those games for years. The most devastating example, of course, is Takeoff's death, a tragedy tied to one of those very dice game nights. We all remember the night Takeoff lost his life, one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in hip-hop history. What began as a dice game flex spiraled into chaos, ending in a shootout that shocked the entire culture. It wasn't just another headline, it was a wake-up call about how dangerous these street setups really are. According to whispers in the streets, this wasn't some random act of violence. The story goes that Jay Prince was allegedly upset that Takeoff and Quavo didn't check in properly. Supposedly, he told his crew to apply pressure just to send a message, but instead of intimidation, it turned deadly. Takeoff, an innocent bystander in the moment, paid the ultimate price. And when the smoke cleared, Jay Prince allegedly dodged accountability like a seasoned escape artist. Anytime the topic comes up, he deflects, downplays, and sidesteps the issue entirely. At one point, he even admitted he destroyed evidence, a shocking detail that still raises eyebrows across the industry. But Takeoff wasn't the only victim linked to these games. Remember Duke the Jeweler? He won $100,000 in a dice game, probably thinking it was his lucky night. Yet before he could even reach his car, he was ambushed, robbed, and murdered. Another promising life taken too soon, all behind rigged games, shady setups, and a twisted code of honor that has nothing to do with true respect. Now place that next to 50 Cent's recent moves. While J. Prince's name keeps circling around street violence and intimidation, 50 is opening community centers, donating to schools, feeding families, and building infrastructure in Houston. One is strengthening communities, the other is holding on to fear and outdated street politics. And at this point, the comparison isn't even close. 50 Cent is allegedly playing a whole different game behind the curtain. Word is he's talking to people off camera, gathering proof that the entire check-in system is nothing more than a slick extortion setup. And he's not just talking, he's moving strategically. He's hinted at federal involvement, and if that happens, it could mean checkmate. 50 understands how to play chess, not checkers. Those memes he drops online, they're just the surface. Behind the scenes, he's loading ammo, stacking receipts, and lining up the perfect moment to strike with undeniable proof. The reality is this: he might not be playing for clout at all. Instead, he could be building a case, saving evidence, preparing that one leak, that one federal tip, that one devastating post capable of dismantling J. Prince's entire legacy in an instant. On one side, there's the streets. On the other, the city itself. And right now, only one appears to be winning. 50 Cent didn't just relocate to Houston, he took it over. While J. Prince was allegedly applying pressure through intimidation and shadow games, 50 was handed the key to the city by the mayor, honored in public, and began building real programs that gave back directly to the people. Now, the very foundation of the check-in empire seems to be collapsing under the weight of exposure. So here's the question: who really runs Houston now? The street figure working behind the scenes in secrecy, or the man standing front and center, backed by the city, the fans, and an entire generation? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is 50 going too far, or is he the hero hip-hop needed to finally pull back the curtain on this underground system? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real talk and deeper dives into hip-hop's hidden battles. Share this with someone who needs the full story, because this saga is far from over. Trust us, what's coming next will only get messier.